What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your boy Carcino here. Let's get into this, man. This thing has gotten really foolish. A lot of people are blaming Kevin Hart for the Tony joke that was told with his friend that was up there giving him a roast. And I'm like, okay, the joke was told by a guy named Tony Hinchcliffe or Hinchcliffe or something like that. I don't know who this dude is. I heard the roast. I heard him do the joke. I didn't laugh when the joke went on, but I don't even know this guy. I was wondering where's Dave Chappelle the whole time. I'm just like, man, Dave didn't want to do this. That's crazy. That's all I said. That's crazy. So I'm like, Dave must be scheduled or busy doing something else. But I just thought, with it being Kevin Hart, he would have some of his red cup people up there. They were behind him, but it was pretty much, you know, I seen Handler up there. I said, okay, she's there. Regina Hall is there. I'm seeing The Rock is there. That makes sense. Where's Ice Cube? I'm like, Ice Cube played a huge part in his career as well. So I felt that would have been better for Cube to do more than Tiffany Haddish. She was his, um, lower region motivation. But anyway, this Tony guy, he did a black community joke that didn't go over well about George Floyd. And okay, something just went down. Okay, I didn't know what that was, but something just went down. But anyhow, everybody wants to blame Kevin Hart for this, and he's taking all the blunt of all the abuse. Yeah, because it's his roast. I'm like, these are the people that's there to roast him. He's hearing it right there. Well, he laughed. What was he supposed to do? Everybody fake laughing. They're comedians. They laugh at, if they're not supporting each other, then hell, how you want to expect the audience to laugh at anybody? So he's just like, ha 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 ha. He's not like saying, hey man, we can't do that. Yeah, he said George Floyd is looking up at all of us right now. He's laughing so hard he can't breathe or something. And they were like, they went on from that to the next to the next joke. It was not a big deal. Who made it a big deal? All those people in the media. Right at the cusp when this Derek, what's his name? Chauvin or whatever, he's trying to get out, or he was stabbed and it's the 6 year anniversary and he's trying to get reduced time or let out after he pressed his knee on George Floyd's neck for 9 minutes. Now, Kevin Hart attended George Floyd's memorial and his private service that he had in Minneapolis. So a lot of the fans there were upset with Kevin Hart because they felt he should have said something or that joke should have been taken out. And they said, he said, okay, it wasn't a tasteful joke to our culture, but our audience that was watching the roast, you get why they're doing it. You get why the racial humor is on the table. Tony Hinchcliffe arguably had the best set or one of the best sets, as Kevin Hart would say. I disagree. He said, would I tell those jokes? No, but I get why they're being told. Yes. Can you please expand on that, Kevin Hart? Because that's crazy. You can get why they're being told? What do you want me to do? Drag him off? That's not what I agreed to do. That's not the job at hand. The job at hand was to produce a successful roast, which I did. Shane Gillis, and now him I've heard of, and I've heard him do jokes, and they seem to be, you know, racially motivated. Right? I've never heard of this Tony Hinchcliffe guy. It was the first time I ever seen him, but I'm like, why are they around you? Why is Shane Gillis hosting? I was more concerned about him. She said they're racist. Chelsea Handler. She said that they're bigots, that they're sexist, and they think they're like invincible or something. But she said Shane Gillis' jokes about lynching Kevin Hart was worse than the R word, in her opinion. Um, and they responded back to her calling her the C word that you're not supposed to call a woman. But when you feel like you're an elitist and you can say whatever you want, it goes in that territory. But the biggest question that needed to be asked here, is the biggest problem I think that's on the horizon that need to be addressed in this situation is why are they there? I've never seen them in a Kevin Hart movie. Why are they there? Why is Shane Gillis hosting your event? This is what I'm saying. This is where it's weird. This is why I say the brakes fell off. This is why I said it's no good. If we only did what was on the table for us to see, what else could everybody else learn from the situation? Right? If we just going about what's on the surface, are we just gonna sit there and punish Kevin Hart every time we see Kevin Hart? My whole thing is, why did Kevin have him there in the first place? That was the big problem. That was the ooh wee. What's this? They weren't supposed to be there. And if they were there, why? This explains everything about Kevin Hart selling his name. Because he sold his name, right? And this is all about he don't have the choice on who he was going to have there. Somebody wanted that to happen. Somebody wanted that altercation to be. Somebody said, hey, this is the way it has to be from here on out. Now, when you look at the details behind the situation, this whole night should have been all about Kevin Hart and Cat Williams. Now it's all about a joke that doesn't make any sense. Now it's all over a guy named Tony, what's his name? Tony Hinchcliffe, the damn cat. And you kind of like look like these people like, how is Tony around there? Why are you defending Tony so much? I understand. Just say, hey man, it's comedians, is what we do. You know, he had to do this. This was a situation that people have never ever seen in life. These situations that is laid out with Kevin Hart, because it's gonna go a long way. And the reason why it's gonna go a long way is because of who he's attached with. And the fact that these people don't seem to be on the side of the left. That's the main reason. These seem like right wing conservative people, and Kevin Hart seems to be a liberal, and the liberal media have supported you. And why are you mixing your brand with these people? Now, well, a lot of people say, yeah, well, he sold his name. So his licensing deal with the Authentic Brands Group, ABG, so they have the right to his IP, um, all his company rights, but he is also a shareholder now. So he gets to eat off of the company and all the money that ABG makes. So yes, they will have rights to his name, likeness, everything to, brand across different verticals. But when he passes away, his children ain't gonna have shit. Kevin Hart made sure he just gave up a certain percentage of his name. Like, I didn't give up my whole name, I just sold some of my name. Marilyn Monroe and all that stuff, Muhammad Ali, his kids ain't eating off that. Ali kids ain't eating off his name. Marilyn Monroe, her family ain't eating off that. David Beckham, he's eating off his name with his wife and everything else. Shaq got the same deal. They own that Shaq thing in his ABG portfolio. So Kevin Hart is over there with them. They own Reebok, Eddie Bauer, Sports Illustrated, Champion. And what they provide is retail help. They have 32 billion in annual global retail sales, digital media, and they love generating revenue. So no one's mad at him for announcing that he's going to do all these different things. But you probably said, why? Well, Kevin Hart has a gambling problem. Um, you know, it's been going on for years. He gambled a lot of money away. on vacation, and his company, running a company is a lot difficult than actually you know doing stand up comedy or studying for a role in a movie. And this is why when you have so many mouths to feed, it's hard. And it's a lot of bad employees there that was like, this was like one of the worst jobs they ever had. People weren't paid on time, and people bills were behind, and his media company didn't seem to care as he was downsizing after the internal restructuring of the team. And while the name itself is separate from Heartbeat Operation, it reflects his intent to control and monetize the whole brand of Kevin Hart. So Heartbeat might be going into a shutdown pretty soon as he restructure everything. So just to let you all know. All right, that's it. That's all. Don't forget to hit the like button and what they say, hype the video. Yeah, hype it up like Hype Williams. I'm out.